All right, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. We have got what should be a fun and exciting match here today. The map is Everdream, the races are Zerg and Protoss, and the players, number 1 in the top right-hand side of the map, it is Scarlett. And the second player in the bottom left, it is Hurricane, completing what I think should be a very fun matchup to watch. Hurricane and Scarlett, both players to watch a lot. Hurricane, he's not one of the best Protoss in the... Well, he's a very good Protoss player. It must be hard being so good at StarCraft 2 and people saying, well, he's not the best Protoss in the world. But no, he is a very, very good Protoss player. He's just not at quite like the highest pro gamer level yet. He usually delivers very exciting play. I think the last series I cast of him, it was Hurricane versus Solar, I want to say. And he showed some amazing micro with his Prism, things like that. And so that's just a little bit about Hurricane. Now Scarlett, on the other hand, she probably doesn't need as much of an introduction, as she is one of the players who's been around a very long time, has been a fan favorite for quite a while. And also being Canadian doesn't hurt when it comes to getting picked to be cast on the channel. Now, we have got Scarlett building a hatchery on that cool little icon that spins around. You can only see this, I think, through Zerg hatcheries. But this thing lights up when a hatch is building on it. It's so interesting. It's just one of those weird little doodads on the map. Now, we've talked about the players. Let's talk about the matchup a bit. Scarlett and Hurricane both play, I wouldn't say they have like a definitive style. I'd say Scarlett isn't necessarily a super late game Zerg. She can lean more towards aggressive strategies that come out at times. And then Hurricane himself, I imagine he'll go for something like a 2-base, and then he'll go towards a 3rd base and things like that. But you don't think of him as like a super cheesy Protoss or a super late game Protoss, so it's weird. He doesn't really have a specific niche that I think of when Hurricane. Maybe I think of Prisms after that last series between Solar and Hurricane that I cast. But he is always fun to watch. Going for a Stargate this game against Scarlett, though. Scarlett just getting up her Ling speed, going to be mining a bit of gas. Then chasing down after this probe. Like, the probe will get away, though. It's pretty tough to kill a probe with slow Zerglings, as it's just slightly faster. Slightly slower than the Lings, that is, pardon me. All right, now we have got the Adept for Hurricane moving out on the map, just trying to see what there is to see. It looks like his Adept is actually looking out for the few Lings that the Zerg players sometimes send out on the map, just to try and sneak in, get that free scout with the Lings, essentially. Now we see the Adept is moving in for Hurricane. Could potentially get a Creep Tumor. That would be a nice deal, but no, he accidentally targets the Queen, so not going to get it. Adepts at the minute aren't super good at killing Creep Tumors. Later on, they absolutely will be once the patch goes through. Adept does actually shade in for Hurricane, trades the Adept for 2 drones. That's a bit interesting, the choice to do that, but alright. I guess if you don't plan on using your Adepts later on. But yeah, a bit of an odd trade for Hurricane, just at least he gets 2 drones, so that's not bad. I was busy talking about how Creep Tumors are going to be changed so that they're light and will be killed easier by Hellions. They'll be killed easier by Adepts and things like that. So that'll be a change. Adepts may be able to get Creep Tumors easily. In comes the Oracle, gonna kill off the Larva. Forces that one drone to instantly turn into a Spore Crawler. Scarlett's Queens, though, are getting into position. And getting a nice bit of damage done to that Oracle. All the while Hurricane behind this is getting up his double gas, but he is planning on getting up his 3rd base. So we'll be firing that up. So not a 2-base out of the Zerg player or anything like that. There is a chance that with the Oracle on the high ground that this Overlord here could be picked off at some point. For now, though, Scarlett using her Lings, just trying to pressure the third of the Protoss a little bit. But it's not like she's made a big round of Lings and is hoping to get a cancel off on the base. She's just getting up extra gases, getting up her lair, getting up her evo. So both these players going for quite a respectable macro game. There's nothing that really screams super aggression from either of them. Hurricane is throwing up 4 gateways, but he's only now just throwing up his Twilight, throwing up his Forge, so it's not like he's going to have charge lots in the next couple seconds or whatever. No, it's going to be a while before that's done. And oh, Hurricane making a big mistake, not having a lot of success with his oracles this game. It looks like he'll at least get like 1, 2 more drones with these oracles, but he's already lost one. And that's only 5 drones he's got that game, so that's not the best for Hurricane. He might just want to recall this oracle to get it home, or just let it regen up on the shields and fly on out. We'll see which one of those he picks. For now, Scarlett, she is going to be going for that Hydra Ling Baneling composition, with that Hydra Den started up pretty much as soon as that lair finishes up. The melee on the way, the Baneling nest is finished up. These are all good things for Zerg players. Stasis Ward goes down for Hurricane. Just having the Oracle hang out at the back is a bit of a cool choice to keep going in and pestering Scarlett with that. I'm gonna actually just catch 2 drones though, as Scarlett reacted appropriately. So Scarlett, she's going to be powering up to this big, strong Zerg composition with the Hydras, with the Lings, and the Banelings, and once Zerg gets up enough of that unit composition, it requires the Protoss to have some sort of other tech to deal with it. That other tech being, say, rarely Colossus, but usually High Templar and Psystorm, as Mass Hydra is very susceptible to AoE, but just fighting unupgraded gateway units or even upgraded gateway units, the Hydras, the Lings, and the Banes will just slaughter them. Hurricane, however, is actually going to be looking to put a bit of a push on Scarlett, but then is probably going to have to retreat as we take a look. There's some Zealots and High Templar warping in, going to make an Archon or 2, but I don't think there's a chance that Hurricane's going to be able to push this space. Scarlett has even got Banelings loaded up in these Dropper Lords, is maybe hoping to get a catch off on Hurricane. Hurricane tosses down force fields, but the Banelings are going to be raining from above. Hurricane, very wisely though, loads the sentries up into the Prism to keep him alive. He's juggling the Archon, juggling the Immortal, keeps the sentries alive, gets out of there. Nicely done for Hurricane for picking up on the fact that there was Banelings. It's not like he took an amazing trade or anything, but he didn't get his army entirely washed out. And so that is good for him. Really cool play by Scarlett to use the Dropper Lords just to try and get on top of that army as quick as possible. For now, though, Hurricane just going to be loading units up into the Prism. Look at him just popping that wall up. And that was cool to watch. Just bing, bang, boom, bing. Every single building getting thrown on up to help defend this 3rd base location. The Oracle still being a pain at the back of Scarlett's base. Might be picked off by this Queen. Oh, yes, it is. So a bit of a mistake there. Losing the Oracle. Not having that for Revelation or continued harassment. Scarlett seems to be planning on making a lot of units. She's getting up a 5th base. But, and is mining this rich gas to have a lot of production. This is going to mean she'll be able to make a lot of Hydras and a lot of Banelings, potentially. Which could be a little bit scary for Hurricane. The Zerg player just fired up 8 Overlords, is at 184 supply, which is a very, very large amount. The Zealots trying to harass Scarlett a little bit, just getting pushed away. And we see Scarlett, she's making a lot of units, but she's essentially stopped droning. As I say that, she fires up a few more, but she seems to be comfortable around the 60 to 70 drone mark. And then it's just going to be making a lot of units to put pressure on Hurricane. She is firing up quite a few more, though. And does throw up the Infestation Pitch. So, okay, maybe she's not planning on going for a big attack and is just willing to macro. Looks like these Dropper Lords behind Hurricane's base were dissuaded from going in by the Stalkers. Banelings are being made for Scarlett. And she is just got up that 5th base, so who knows how hard she's going to go into the macro or whether she will make a big round of units and go for an attack. We see her making even more drones, though, so looks like she will be playing the defensive style and not trying to break Hurricane. So we can get into a bit of a scrappy match as Hurricane, he's queuing Zealots towards the 5th base of Scarlett. He knows he bruised that up, so is going to try and kill it off. His Prism is also still lurking near the main base of Scarlett. Zealots kill off that base. They may want to recall for Hurricane if they can't run away, but Scarlett doesn't even bother pursuing. She is just going to go ahead and, yeah, just hunker down. Hasn't started rebuilding that base yet. I imagine she will soon. Hurricane is actually coming back in with the Zealots saying, oh, have you rebuilt this hatchery? Nope, not yet. Okay, the Zealots will leave and come back later. Prism pressuring Scarlett. I guess right now she just figures, all right, I'll just stay defensive on 4 bases. Couple of drones are going to get killed by the Zealots. The Zealots will get cleaned up by Hurricane, or by Scarlett, pardon me. Fleet Beacon is on the way, so Hurricane probably going to be adding a mothership to his composition, I imagine. We've seen a couple of Protoss lately going to be going for that late game composition, so we're seeing a bit of a return to the late game composition from Protoss players. Willing to add in a couple of air units, maybe get the mothership out, things like that, as opposed to feeling super pressured to go for an attack like they would in the past. The mothership going to be the crown jewel on Hurricane's army. He is approaching max out. He's got a ton of High Templar, which is good to see. I don't think you can really have enough High Templar for a Protoss as a Protoss player. You always want to have more and more Psystorm. Hurricane is even throwing up an extra Stargate or two, so he will be able to make carriers or Tempest if need be. Scarlett, though, she's going to be planning to put the hurt on, put the hurt in Hurricane. Not that that really works, but close enough. A lot of Banelings are morphing for Scarlett. She's up to a 78 drone economy, and she just made like 50 Banelings, which is an insane amount. This is why Hurricane has so much Psystorm. Looks like the Zerg player going to be looking for a surround. Hurricane is very good with his spells, but he may have overextended a little bit. These Immortals are caught out. The Banelings are going to crash right into him, and Scarlett has so many Banelings that she didn't even care about mainly connecting with Immortals. Hurricane has a couple of Psystorms left. Scarlett's Banelings are mainly all gone, but she's still just confident enough to push forward. The Banelings are now going to be chasing the probes away from the 5th base, killing off 22 in just a second like that. More Psystorm is going down for Hurricane, but man, is Scarlett ever dealing a lot of damage to her opponent right now. Hurricane losing 22 probes that he had up at that base. He's also going to lose his 4th base, which is very painful. Adrenal Glands is on the way behind this for Scarlett. Broodlords are coming out too. This looks to be a very good spot for the Zerg. Scarlett committed to an attack, and I'd say she got enough damage done as more Hydras and Banelings come on in. Hurricane is in trouble. He does have his mothership done though, so I mean he can actually keep his units safe under the cloaking sphere for now. Scarlett will have to make a couple of Overseers. The damage really has been done. It takes the Protoss player a lot of time to build up to a strong Psystorm, Immortal, Archon composition. Hurricane doesn't really have any Immortals, doesn't have any Archons at the minute, lost his 4th base, so his economy isn't that good to replace this. Scarlett's making Vipers, she's got the Broodlord tech already. It's just a matter of her closing out this game, I feel. We'll see if Hurricane's able to hold on. Usually at this point in the game, he'd be going for some Prism harassment, but I guess he lost his Prism, and yes, he did indeed, so this is going to be very concerning. There's a chance Scarlett overcommits into Psystorm or something like that, but for now we take a look. Scarlett comes in, she baits out a storm, then she pulls back, knowing not to overcommit. Banelings are coming in from the right side. They don't get the best compositions. The mothership is doing its best to try and keep these units safe, but there's Overseers here for Scarlett. The Overseers are actually being focused down, so these units will be invisible if that last one gets picked off. Does it? Hurricane, if he killed that one Overseer, he'd actually just have his units be invisible. Now they're invisible, and will actually push Scarlett back. So this is actually really sick mothership play from Hurricane. That being said, the Vipers have arrived. They're here to be able to abduct units like the mothership to kill it off. A Psystorm goes down on the Hydras, but there's the abduct. The mothership being targeted down. I think that was something that was also changing in a patch upcoming. The mothership can't be abducted. Don't quote me on that though. Or I know it was a very requested change. Hurricane has held on against Scarlett for now, and partially this is Scarlett's doing. She committed to another attack, didn't get the kill, and hasn't committed to, say, the Broodlords yet. This has given Hurricane time to reestablish his army a little bit. He's got a few Archons, he's got some more High Templar, is going to be reestablishing cannons, getting up the wall. The 4th base is mining quite well for him again. Zealots are moving out to where a base for Scarlett might have been. Looks like Scarlett sending some Lings to deal with that. Still has her army on the main front, is going to be looking to pick off that mothership. I imagine that mothership's got to be careful when there's Vipers lurking. All it takes is one good abduct, and Hurricane will be in trouble if he loses that. Feedback hits one of the Vipers, though. Great start for Hurricane. Removes the energy from that. It's going to take a long time for it to restore that energy. For another abduct, if Hurricane gets off one more feedback, the mothership will be considered safe. Is there a feedback on it? Looks like the mothership does get abducted. Does the Viper pull it all the way into the army? Yes, it does. Hurricane snaps down a Psystorm, but that's really just pennies on the dollar as far as losing an expensive mothership goes. I don't even know if he can afford to replace it at this point. He may just be better off focusing on lots of Archons, lots of charge, lots of things like that. Hurricane is trying to get up a 5th base, but Scarlett will be shutting that down without a doubt. There's a cancel on that location now. Hurricane's mainly just rocking an Archon Templar composition right now, and this is going to be against a Zerg player who's had a lot of time, has started to build up a bank, really good tech, and there's the Broodlords on the way for Scarlett. Scarlett knows that all you need to close out a game is Broodlords, just a couple of them, to help zone your opponent out, force them into a bad fight, and this is why we see Hurricane being so aggressive right now, pushing towards Scarlett. He's moving forward with his High Templar, but then we even see there's these Banelings and these Dropper Lords. If Scarlett uses these and gets them on top of the High Templar, that will literally just be game over. So Hurricane's in a very, very tough spot. He's down 50 supply. Looks like Scarlett isn't going to use these Banelings against Hurricane's actual army, though, is simply going to try and cripple the economy as she moves her Broodlords across the map. High Templar getting hit by the Broodlords is a disaster for Hurricane. Some units have been warped in to shut down these Dropper Lords. Over the main force of Scarlett, I think is going to be nigh on impossible for Hurricane to shut down. He starts off with some very good Psystorms. He is pretty much underneath the Broodlords, but there's still such a Zerg army here outside of the actual Broodlords. The Archons are getting underneath the Broodlords. The High Templar dropping down Psystorm on whatever they can. There's most of the Psystorm burned for Hurricane, but he does end up getting some very, very good connections on the army of Scarlett. As this has gone on, though, Scarlett has lost or has killed 19 of Hurricane's probes. We see Tempest are now on the way for Hurricane, which is an interesting choice, I guess, just to try and have something to counter the Broodlords. He really does need something. This will allow him to play more passive, but then we take a look. The 3rd base of Hurricane is going to go, or the 4th base, pardon me, is going to go down. That 5th base was never established. So even though he's now got an answer to the Broodlords, he's going to be in a very tight spot. He may just have to push towards Scarlett to try and go for the kill. The Vipers can simply just abduct the Tempest, and looks like that's going to be the case. Hurricane's going to have to push forward to try and save these units. He's not going to be able to, though. There's now no real answer to the Broodlords outside the Psystorm. I think Hurricane's just got to win this game now, and it is going to be tough for him to do it. We need to see some monster Psystorms, but we don't. GG gets called. Scarlett is going to be the one who takes the match against Hurricane. He tried to hold on, but in the end, Scarlett just got a successful attack off and was able to carry the game out. Very well done by Scarlett. Hurricane, of course, played a very exciting style to watch. Anything which involves late game Protoss and mass Psystorm, I'm a fan of. Ladies and gentlemen, though, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. I think I forgot to mention a like goal, so let's just aim for 50 likes on this video. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord. We talk lots of pro Starcraft, things like that. Follow me on Twitter. I'll see you next time. This has been LaughNgamez. Thanks so much for watching.